Greetings and welcome to another episode of World Music Safari. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Hulusi. So this instrument I picked up, I actually had the opportunity to pick up in Beijing. This is a beautiful little instrument. It's not a flute, it's a reeded instrument. It's a free-blowing reed. So a non-free-blowing reed is something like a saxophone or a clarinet where the reed sits directly on your lips. Well, this has reeds on the inside of this gourd. So it works strictly on air pressure. However, just like our other woodwinds, it's got 6 holes here. So to open up, you go up. There's an extra hole on the back of this. So when we play this, you'll hear it kind of sounds a little bit like a clarinet, just a tad, but it also has these little extra drones on the side here. This is really cool. So you can see it sounds a little bit like a clarinet. It's a fairly soft sound. It's not really loud. Some of the other free-blowing instruments like a mizmar or a bean from India, those can be pretty loud. This has a softer sound. It has a reed similar to a harmonica. So let's go ahead and get into the drones here. So the drone is going to be set up in G minor. So I'm going to pull one finger up from here and set the drone by pulling this little plug out. And you can kind of hear that chorusing effect of the waves interfering with each other. They're close enough, but they kind of interfere. So this last one actually makes the entire chord. If I go up to the minor third, kind of a cool little sound. But if I put these back, I can, oh, that one moved. That wasn't good. I better make sure that that's in there pretty well. You can see the beautiful detailing on this too. The entire thing is carved on both sides. This is not a tourist model. I actually paid a fairly hefty amount for this, at least in American, because I wanted one that played really well. I do have a tourist version of one. I'll get that one out a little bit later. But this one just plays so nicely in G minor. It's what I used for the bump in the beginning of this video. So again, this is a very approachable instrument. It's fairly easy to play if you're a beginner. I recommend picking one up. They're expensive here. You can get one from different companies, and they can, I'm not sure how much they are now, but the last time I looked, they weren't as reasonable as I bought this one, but I also flew to China to get it, so it was a little bit, was it cheap in China? Yeah, but China was beautiful. The culture and music in China is amazing. As you can see in some of the pictures that I'm posting here, music is everywhere. There's people playing erhu, people playing this. This is called a Hulusi or a Hulusa. I might not know how to say it, but I can play it. This is really pretty easy to play. The erhu is not easy to play. I'll get into the erhu a little bit later in these series. The erhu is not necessarily a beginning instrument. This is very straightforward. So this is the touristy version that I picked up, and you can kind of see it's a little bit smaller. It's got the drones here are just for looks. They're not real, but it does indeed play. It's got 6 holes here on the top, an extra one on the bottom, and let's give this has got a funny story about how I got it too. But in the meantime, let's listen to this one. And you can see if I'm not holding that pressure right, that's kind of squirrely in there, but this one does play quite nicely. However, when I went to buy this, the guy who sold me this was playing one like this, but when I gave him a $20 bill, he pulled up this tiny little one, and we didn't speak any English, and I speak no Mandarin, but I pointed down, I went, this one, not the tiny little one. So he begrudgingly gave me this one, which is nice. This isn't the one he was playing, but it was one of the larger ones I kind of knew would play. And if you listen carefully, there's still some seeds inside of this thing. This is just a gourd. So, all right, well, that's my tourist version. Let's get back to the big one. All right, gang, well, that's it for this week's short lecture series on the Hulusi. If you have any comments or questions, just leave a comment below and I'll see if I can get to it. But in the meantime, next week we're going to head down under for a totally different instrument that does not have a reed. Eventually, we're going to go to the very places where these come from. But in the meantime, I'll see you next week.